Blowing in from the Windy City, it's time for JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.
Welcome to this week's broadcast of JW Fusion. I am your co-host, J.H. Carpenter Barnes, and I am here with my lovely and vivacious
and excited wife. I always say excited, don't I?
You're always excited.
I am.
Your energy is contagious.
No, we have energy here.
And I want to catch it. I want to get it.
I'll give it to you.
What's that? What is that Tracey says?
She said, get at it.
I want to get at it.
Yes. Speaking of Tracey,
we have as our guest on this week the vivacious and energetic and powerful and brilliant and inspiring
and very real.
What's her name, babe?
Miss Tracey Harwell. Yay! Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you. I love you.
I love Tracey. Tracey and I are friends, and she's an amazing person.
Look, Tracey is our coach. She is, I don't mean coach in the traditional sense. There's nothing traditional about Tracey.
Nothing, right? You take pride in that, don't you?
I do.
Unconventional comes to mind. Exceptional comes to mind. But traditional, no. So listen, we're going to get into this thing. And baby, tell them a little bit about Tracey.
Well, Tracey is an entrepreneur. You've been an entrepreneur for 22 years, and your company is called Inspiring You to Grow. So you're a life coach, right?
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. I hate that word.
Really?
I do not like the word life coach.
Why?
It has a strange, and not to, say anything bad about my California friends, but it's kind of a wishy-washy, like, oh, I need a life coach.
It's been watered down a little bit.
It has been watered down, and life
years.
Coaches are taught a certain ABCD kind of rhetoric of skill set.
You don't seem to me to be an ABCD
I'm not
person.
an ABCD. I didn't know there was an alphabet
But then life
involved.
isn't that way.
No, life isn't that way.
It's not.
And that's where people get, oh, I'm a life coach. And then people are like, ooh, like something's wrong with them if they need that. And I don't like that. I think everyone needs a friend to talk to who would be real and be able to uncover some of the issues, not
That's
just
awesome.
be like, so how do you feel about that?
So what do you call yourself?
So what term would you?
I call myself a life and business strategist because there's a strategy to everything we do.
There is.
That's more powerful.
That's powerful because I was listening to James Dentley the other day, and he was saying there's a science to everything. There's a science to building. There's a science to the science world. And of course, there is a science or strategy for businesses. Anything you do, if you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail, as they say.
Amen.
So that I like that term, a strategist.
So how did you come to this? You are not a life coach. You are a strategist. How did you come to this field? And this because I know from personal experience you're very passionate about it. So how did you come about doing this?
Well, I was in business, and I've always had the ability to figure out creative ways to make money. So money was never my thing, but in making money, you're dealing with people. So I became an executive with a health and wellness company almost 5 years ago. And it became so challenging because it felt like I was running romper room. And nobody could act right, and nobody could get above their ego. And, the competition level was insane, and it wasn't healthy. And I was literally at a point in my life where I was on my knees going, how do I be successful and get people to grow? And the key was in that word. It was in growth, personal growth and personal development. So that's really where it started. Is I knew to go back into personal development myself to grow myself, but I never realized how much I needed it in leadership as well, and how much people didn't even know what it was to grow themselves.
So that's hence the term for the name of your company, Inspiring You to Grow. I like you too.
The letter U,
the number two, grow. I like that. Inspiring you to grow. That is so powerful.
So what did you do for yourself? Because, a lot of people would look at you and be like, so what do you have? What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table to feel that you can help others grow? What growth have you gone through yourself?
I have,
as she rolls her eyes.
I know, I'm an eye roller. I've gone through a lot. I published a book in August.
The name of it is?
It is called Do You Believe This Shit?
Oh.
There you go.
And
I told you she was real.
Listen,
right?
it's a short read, but it's based on a series of events that happened as a young child that shaped who I am and what I believed I was.
Okay.
And believed
most
that
of us.
for decades. We all do.
We all have that.
We all get our beliefs from our families, from
Yeah.
our community,
Yeah.
from our church, from our, all these different avenues. They do mean stuff, and stuff goes sideways.
Yes.
That's true. That is so
the
true.
bad stuff is so fascinating how the bad stuff stays with you forever. Even through some good stuff, you're still holding on to some bad stuff.
Right.
You have to learn how to let go of.
And most people walk around subconsciously, not knowing
Right.
that silly little event, that little moment in time is now hindering their entire future.
Wow.
huge.
That's significant because I know for me, growing up, there was certain things that I picked up as a kid or as a child. And those things stuck with me and were a part of me and affected my decisions. They affected how I interacted with other people and a lot of different things until Wendy and I went to counseling before we got married. How long did we go to counseling? About a year and a half?
About 18 months.
About 18
yeah.
months we went to counseling before we got married. And Wendy had a suitcase. I had a trunk that I had to unpack. I did from childhood on up, but that helped me to understand the reason I did and reacted and responded to things the way I did. And so there are things we need to own about ourselves. If we're selfish, if we're self-centered, if we find that we're greedy, if we're procrastinators, that's fear, and
People don't think of it as fear.
No, they don't. They really don't.
I'm just, I'm just a procrastinator, but there's a deeper level to
Sure.
that.
Yeah, there's a reason why.
Yeah. So let's just use that because I'm sure a whole lot of bunch of people listening are procrastinators or they're always late. How do you start even with that? 'Cause I'm sure they're like, okay, Tracey, I want to hire you, but okay, next week.
And I've done a lot of self-development with different people, and some of it I'm like, okay, I get that, and some of it I don't. Like the late thing, sometimes it's simply people need to be seen. Like it can be that simple. Like if there's that one person that chronically shows up like a half hour into the meeting,
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
like
Yes.
they weren't, and I'm not saying in all cases, but
That
they
is-
weren't seen.
That
They
is
weren't
so
seen.
insightful. That is, I've heard.
I never thought of it that way.
I mean, I grew up going.
Wow.
You and I, our parents sent us to church. My mother made me go. She went to church.
So
she made
did
us
mine.
go, even if she didn't go.
Yes.
And I remember seeing people come in late to church, and then I would hear people talk about that in comedy and movie situations about people coming to church late so that they can be and walk down the middle aisle
To the front row. Yeah.
Now you late.
That was Tracey. It was not me. Oh, okay.
Another late person.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
you think about it. You late. You should sit in the back. You walking to everybody's stopping, and they gonna look at you because
I got my church clothes, my
it's-
Sunday best on.
it's just you, yourself, and you. That's it. Coming down with your big hat, your clothes, and you want to be seen. That is so insightful.
Wow.
I like that.
Wow.
That's I
I
never
would
did
think that a person like that is harder to reach because there's something deeper even with that feeling. I need to be seen. So you have to go past the procrastination to understand why they feel that they need to be seen to be relevant.
In a lot of cases, they don't want to hear that either.
I was about to say, Tracey, because
wanna hear that.
I know you, Tracey, and I know
Yeah.
that you are going to speak the truth,
Right.
no matter what. You don't know how to put a bow on it and make it pretty. You speak it. So how do you help people who say it's easy to say I want help, but when it's time to delve in and do the work, how do you get through this mess to get through the actual help that they say they need?
Well, if they're coming to me, they already know what they're dealing with, so there's no
Let us
hiding.
pray.
They know there's no hiding.
That's
But I mean, even though I appear to be like no filter, the truth of the matter is, God's
with
given
love.
me.
I mean, it's
Go-
with love.
and that's what it is. God's given me a gift that somehow I'm able to see the injured child.
Okay.
Wow.
So a lot
That
of
is a
times
gift.
I can peg it, and if I know a little bit about their childhood or just where they are in the world with themselves, it usually points in a direction.
Wow.
And once you know that direction, then you can work with them to help bring it through in a safe
Yeah.
way, and then try to integrate it, because I believe we all heal ourselves. It's not like this master. And that's why I don't like the word coach, because I don't think my ability to heal, my ability is to open you up and provide a space, a space that's safe for you to come up and look at it as an adult now, not the little child.
That reminds me of an analogy. I used to do mortgages for like almost 20 years. I did loans. I had my own commercial mortgage company. I worked for small and large residential mortgage companies. And I dealt with a lot of people who had credit issues. And so when they would come to me, they would say, well, James, they told me I can't get a house. I said, well, you can get a house. We just need to work on your credit. I said, I want you to look at it like this. When you break your leg, what does the doctor do? He resets it. Okay, resetting your leg is getting the bad stuff off your credit. When you have surgery, what do? They remove the bad stuff first. They don't give you antibiotics. They're not trying to heal you. They're performing procedures to get the bad stuff out. Then that's when the healing begins, which takes time. And they said, when they saw it that way, and it's the same thing. You have to open that person up and deal with the negativity that is preventing them from healing. Because if there's an infection there, you're never going to get well. You're never going to heal if you have an infection in your soul or in your mind. If it's infected.
And that's what it is, exactly. It's not a physical infection. It's a mental, emotional infection.
And it's not something...
Which is not as easy to take care of as a physical infection.
It is not. And it's not something that we came here with. We weren't born that way. God didn't create us to have those things. So it comes from our negative surroundings, negative experiences, negative things that we embrace as true. And when we embrace lies as truth, it poisons us. It really does. So then they need Tracey to come in and say, hey, this is what's wrong with you. You need to take care of this. Now, they may or may not want to hear that. I don't know. But like you told us, I can't do it for you. I can show you what you need to do. And a lot of times people don't want that. They want you to do it. They want you to fix it.
They want you to wave the magic wand.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Everything is good.
As my mentor says, they want to come, do me. Do me. No, do it yourself.
Right.
It's that clear. I can't do the sit-up. Like someone will say, your trainer says, they can't do the sit-ups for you and give you a six-pack.
If only.
Right, if only. Because I would pay good money for that.
I would
just saying.
I would pay money for that.
I think we all would.
I would pay money for that.
I would get a package for sit-ups, cardio.
Oh, yes. Lord, yes. Do them squats for you.
But that's the work we're here to do, right?
Yeah,
We're here to live our best life and be our best selves.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And sadly, so many people are walking around today in pain, and they don't realize that pain source is what's keeping them from really having everything God wants them to have.
Yeah. So Tracey, tell us about your journey. How did you wind up moving into this area? Was it an experience in your life? Was it a desire to help people? Was it an exposure to what you're doing to help people that you realized I'm gifted to help other people in the same manner?
Right.
Tell us your story about.
Well, it really did start almost 4 years ago when I was literally on my knees going, okay, what do I need to do, Lord, to get people to work together as a team and work together to grow in the health and wellness industry. I could sell products to help people release weight, but it was the mental aspect. And someone who's battled obesity my whole life, I understood that it was more than what they were putting in their body.
Yeah.
So in all honesty, it was a Facebook ad for a book that was coming out, and I remembered the person from an Oprah episode.
Okay.
And I followed a link, and I was like, I didn't even read books. Like, I was too busy for that. I wasn't there. And I was like, oh, I'll order the audiobook, thinking I'm slick, right? So I did. I ordered it, and it came with some extras on this person's website, and I followed it, and then it I got a voice in me that was like, go back to the website. There was no book tour in Chicago. And it turned out they added one.
Oh.
So
Wow.
I had to hunt down then some books because it had sold out before the first run even came out.
Okay.
And I found some books in the city, like deep in the city, and I went down there and got them. So I had my books, and I went, and this woman spoke for 2 hours. And when she spoke, she looked at me, and I was in the front row because that's where I always want to be, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And when I went to get my book signed, she said, "Sis, I saw a light go on inside of you." And I was like, okay. Whatever, right? I went on, and I really put that book into play. That book was called Abundance Now, and the author is my coach and mentor, Lisa Nichols.
The amazing
Lisa
Nichols.
Nichols. And somehow 3 years later, I stand beside her, and I'm honored to serve her and her community. And my life has been exactly what she said it would be, unrecognizable. My life has become full color and 360. And I really just went to learn the business strategies to scale my businesses because I have 3 of them. I'm an entrepreneur.
For real. You're a
different,
for real entrepreneur.
Yeah, streams of income. And I thought that that's why I was there. God had a different plan.
But that's huge at what
Wow.
she said. She said a few things that got me. You said release weight. You didn't say
Yeah,
when
no, you
lose
never
weight.
say lose. That's like losing your car keys. You don't want to find those. You know, like I don't want to find that weight.
Right,
You want
right.
to release it, not find it.
And then you were saying that you went for one reason, but a lot of times someone sees something in us that we may or may not see in ourselves, and we dismiss it.
Yes.
What made it different for you that she said this about you? Because that's not why you were there.
I didn't believe it at first.
So what got you to that point of believing it and actually moving forward with it?
I really believe it was the community. And the more I stepped into my self-worth, because I was once again showing up to serve others and not myself, which, you know,
Which a lot of
replay
people
that.
do.
That's what we do.
A lot of people
That's
do
what
that,
we
though.
do.
Hold it right there. Stop right there. Now, what you just said
Is everything.
is a
It's
powerful
everything.
principle. That is so many people. I know, like I said, I was in the mortgage industry, and it is so competitive. Nobody really wanted to help anybody. They'll put you down if your volume isn't at a certain level. Behind your back, they'll say, "Loser," you know, instead of calling you to the side and say, "Hey, you know what? This is what's working for me. Why don't let me show you how to do this so that you can do well as well." People won't do that in that particular industry. At least they weren't when I was doing it. And unless it's your manager and he's under pressure for you to produce. But a fellow loan officer is not going to do that. And it's so powerful because it's a spiritual principle. The thing that you make happen for someone else, I believe, people say it's the universe, and I say it's God's resource center, which is the universe, will cause that thing to come into your life in abundance. Not just what you gave, but what you gave multiplied. And that's what happened based on what you're saying, Tracey. You were there to serve. You were there to see other people blessed, to enhance their lives. And as a result, your life was enhanced. Can you imagine what would happen to our jacked up society if people would just realize that on a one-on-one basis? If one person did that to one other person, the difference it would make in the climate of our country, the economy, the finances, the work world, everything would go to another level of excellence, I believe.
That's very
because
true.
positivity, positive thinking, positive words, a positive vibration given from the heart to a heart, that gives life. That gives life. And that was the thing, when you said that you wanted us to work with Tracey, I was like, okay, who is Tracey? Isn't that the lady you told me that runs up the front of people and down the back?
As soon as she walks in the door, you'll know.
I said, okay, I really didn't know Tracey. But when I sat in that meeting, when she met with us the first time, I said, we're going to work with her. We are definitely working with her because I love her spirit and I love her humility, because she didn't come in talking about how close she is or how how tight she is with Lisa Nichols. She didn't name drop. She came in with principles. She shared things that she was taught, what she learned over the years that she's been involved with what she's doing.
That she's excited about sharing.
And she's excited about your success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what got me. And
she's genuinely
Yeah,
excited
yeah.
about
and I
what
love
she
that.
sees in
I
you,
love
and
that.
that's
I love
huge.
that. You know, Pastor Rob is like that.
Yes, he is.
He is very much like that. He is excited about the success of the people around him, whether they go to they're under his pastorate or not. He wants to see people succeed,
Right.
And that's our desire.
Exactly.
You know, and
That's why we do what we do.
That's why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're doing this program to promote other people, their visions, their businesses, their books, whatever it is their gifting is, to let other people know, because we're really one community of humanity. Mm-hmm. We really are. You know, so I salute you, Tracey. I admire you, and I have a ton of respect for you, and that's why I always do everything you tell me.
Except their homework isn't
Except
Our
done.
homework is not due until Friday, so we have a little bit of time. But a quick question I wanted to ask you, like, who is your target audience? Because someone listening might be like, well, I'm not an entrepreneur. I work a 9 to 5, so I don't see how I have a benefit of someone like you. Who do you have a target, or what would you
Yeah,
tell that
I do.
person?
And I would say my target, I will work with men, but obviously women are drawn to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't only work with entrepreneurs, because honestly, on the personal and emotional work that I do, it's mostly women. And I can honestly say that the late 20s are coming to me.
Oh, wow.
They're
The millennial. That's a
confused.
millennial.
They're millennials,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
get such a bad rap, but they're in a very interesting place
Mm-hmm.
where they don't want the conformity of the generation in front of them,
Correct.
and they don't know how to do it. Like, they're getting out of college and they've got all this debt, and they're confused on who to be in the world because school didn't teach them to follow their
Exactly.
hearts.
And a 29-year-old, no matter what generation, you're on the cusp of like, wait,
Right.
I'm about to be a grown up for real.
Exactly.
And have I done what I said? I was just talking to our son about that.
Oh, yeah.
I said, you blink and you're in your late 20s. You're
Yeah.
like, wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait.
Right.
Okay, so in high school, you have all these dreams. Growing up, you have all these dreams. And then the time goes so fast. You look up,
Yeah.
you're about to turn 30. You're like, uh-oh.
Where did the time go?
Where did the time go? Why haven't I done
Right.
the steps toward
Yeah.
what I said
and
I
let's
wanted
just
to do?
like take that out to, my niche is probably right in that 50 age too. Right there, because it's another thing.
Because 50 is another milestone. Like,
Because it's
shoot.
another milestone. And as women, the kids are gone, they're in college, and you're looking around the room and you're like, now what do I do?
Exactly.
So I can just say that people, while I have a niche client, I'm not a niche person, because I don't
Okay.
put myself in a box.
You know what's really awesome is that, and I know it sounds like a Tracey Admiration Society, which
Well,
it
is.
is.
It's whatever.
Roll this commercial
Unashamed.
out.
I'm not ashamed.
But what I wanted to say is that our society has moved into a place where our economy is shifting, has shifted, where just working a 9 to 5 job is not going to give you the fulfillment and the financial success that a lot of people desire to have.
Right.
And a lot of younger people do not fit. It's becoming accepted not to go to college. And so
slowly.
it's slowly being
It's still
accepted.
too slow, but
Because there are many people that are not cut out for academics. They're just not. They're brilliant. They have brilliant minds, but they're not cut out for the traditional academia that our colleges have. And so the really what we've experienced is like a course in how to chart your life, not the cookie cutter, but your unique path.
and be okay with that
And be
path,
okay
even if
with
it's
being
against the
unique.
societal
Yeah,
norms.
Exactly. It's okay to be you. It's
Right.
okay that all of your friends are going to a Big Ten school, or everybody from your school is getting a bachelor's or whatever, and you're going a different path. You're an entrepreneur. You're starting your own business. You want to do certain things, and you're not doing what everyone else is doing. That's okay, because what you'll find is that your field isn't crowded.
Exactly. And then Tracey, this is a question for your 18-year-old now, your 17, 18, 19-year-old who's about to finish high school or they've just finished it, and you're trying to prevent them from being that 29-year-old who comes to you. And maybe college is and maybe college isn't. What do you tell that person to help them track a path for themselves? Because that's a great age to get started. You have the energy, you don't have the responsibilities of, you know, home life or mortgage or children. What do you tell that younger person, or even younger if that's what you do, how to get a course started? So when you turn 29, you're like, I can check off some of the boxes that I have for myself.
Right. I think the biggest thing for the younger kids is they're still under the influence of their parents' wishes, which this doesn't sound good, but they've, and I do believe that this generation coming now, they don't fall into the conformity because they're following these millennials. And I hope that they're going to just be true to themselves.
Because our son like is just behind them, like
not
he's right,
but not everyone, but they're influenced by that.
Sure,
exactly.
And the social media influence is like nauseating because that's not reality. Not everyone's going to make $1 million online,
right?
And you know, we still need tradespeople. If you look at the numbers, the amount of guys that went to trades and made good livings,
right?
They're begging. They're paying for schooling.
And they're always needed.
We as a society need to stop saying college is a must.
Right.
Because it isn't for everyone. So it's really a matter of following your heart, finding a niche of people. Don't follow your peers. Find your tribe. Find your peers, your like-minded people, and figure it out. You're young enough.
But my mother's telling me this.
Well,
my father is
know,
telling me I need to do this.
My grandfather wanted me to be a nun. That didn't work out well for him.
Oh, my goodness. Jesus.
Oh, my.
That's a whole nother show.
Yes.
Anyway.
It is a whole nother show. But you realize, like, those
how do you get outside of that, though?
Those beliefs. Well, I just laughed at them my whole life.
I'm paying for your college. I'm still paying for your room and board. This is what I feel you need to do. How do you tell that person, you know, to, like, maybe on the side, start doing this over here, maybe while you're doing what you...
What's your passion? Find a passion. Everybody has something they love to do, whether it's gardening or playing with flowers or taking pictures on your iPhone. Like, find what you love. Don't ever not own what you love. And whatever that is, you have to have the courage.
And you help them with that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I help adults. I mean, I have women that are professionals who have walked away from, let's say, a 20-year private practice, and they're burned out now.
They're tired.
And they're tired because they went to school for 20 years.
They're
and now
mentally, emotionally, and physically tired.
And now finding space to have a life at 42.
Yeah.
This isn't just young people. It just isn't old people. We all have peaks and valleys in our lives where we question, what am I here for? What is my purpose? I feel, and it's those people who feel like they have a bigger calling on their life.
Yes.
Those are the people that are my clients.
Okay.
Let's talk together. Let's work together. Let's find out what you love and what you'd be happy just doing if money was not wasn't an issue.
Now, that's interesting
that.
what you said. You said the call that's on your life. There is a scripture in the Bible that says, make your calling and election sure. Everyone has a gifting, an ability that's in us. And some of us suppress it, we ignore it because of pressure from parents, peer pressure, societal pressure, and fear that you're not going to be able to make a living painting. You're not going to be able to make a living doing photographs or singing or starting a winery. You know, you're not going to make it. You're going to fail. That's the first thing people tell you is they stick that failure thing in front of you. Well, there's nothing to say just because you go to college and you get your degree that you're going to be able to pay off those student loans either. There's no guarantees. There's
you
no
can make
guarantees.
a lot of money, but if half that money is going to student loans,
right.
Are you really making the money?
And they have laws in place now. They have put policies in place where if your student loans aren't financed properly, it can prevent you from buying a house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They set that thing up because people weren't paying their student loans. They would get them deferred. They would go to school. They'd buy a house, and they never paid them. They got it now where you can't get away. You can't get away. You know. So
we're coming up on a commercial very, very soon. But Tracey, if you could think of really quick during the commercial break an example without saying names of someone who you met, and then at the end how the success of the transformation that you saw within them.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
This book is the story of Jameson Harold Donovan, who lives in the city of Sussex Falls. Feeling trapped in his dysfunctional marriage to his wife and a stranger to his own children, thoughts of suicide dominate his waking hours. Jameson discovers he was selected before birth by the Almighty to receive quasi-angelic abilities. Between the ticks of the clock. You're listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.
And we're back with our special guest, the very gifted and powerful Tracey. We're just going to call you Tracey.
She just Tracey.
Just
period,
Tracey.
Right. So, Tracey, before we went to commercial break, I was wondering if you could give us an example of someone who you met at a certain point in their lives and they had a dream, desire, goal, and you helped them through that process and what it looked like on the other end.
Sure. Actually, the one person, because she's amazing, pops out. I ran an accountability group last year at the beginning of the year to help entrepreneurs set SMART goals and just get off to the first quarter really strong. And I was surprised by a few of the women that showed up because they're big dogs in the world. Like this one woman in particular, and she would not mind if I shared this story, so I know I'm safe saying it.
Okay.
She had a PhD, and she had not submitted her thesis for her doctorate to walk across the stage and be done. And I says, why are you here? And she says, well, I'm unmotivated. And me being me, I said, what is the fear of being complete? Like, what is that going to force you to do next? What's the big scary next in your life that you don't want to face? And we took that off to the side and had a conversation, and within 36 hours, she had submitted her thesis, and she realized, and we go back to the belief systems and the mindset. She had made herself a student and kept herself a student because the fear of saying, this is complete with me now, and now I can go become a best-selling author and teach and do the bigger things in the world. That fear, as James said, was all that was holding her back. And she had not done that work for 2 years.
Wow.
And within a matter of hours, we had shifted
I was going to say, that's a quick
hours.
turnaround.
It was a quick turnaround.
But she was probably more willing to hear what you had to say.
It was needing that truth. And someone, because she was powerful and brilliant, a lot of times when you're powerful and brilliant, people like they're not going to challenge you.
True.
And she carried a strength about her that most people probably wouldn't challenge her. But she met me.
She met Tracey.
But she met me, and I can honestly say that I'm watching her now, and it fills me with such joy. Because her book's about to come out. She's speaking all over. I'm seeing her all over stages. And it was like she just needed a little nudge. Yeah. And I think we all just sometimes need a little nudge.
Sometimes it doesn't take this years-long, months-long.
No, it doesn't have to be this big story.
It doesn't have to be this big thing.
It's getting what you need to move to the next level, to move that needle, just micro wins, right? Sometimes we get stuck bobbing around. We just need that little push, that little reality.
I believe that's the reason that there's so many different types of people who inspire others, because John Maxwell has a principle that I agree with. He says that a leader who is a 9 will not follow a leader who is a 7.
Makes sense.
And a leader who is an 8 will not follow a leader who's a 6. So it seems that, like when we met Tracey, we've accomplished things in our lives, but her level of leadership is above on the spectrum, above where we are. So we can listen, we can receive from her.
Right.
Whereas someone
and she's genuine.
And she's genuine, but that there's something inside of us, each of us. There's a force, a spirit, a spiritual force within us that enables us to speak into the lives of other people who are of equal strength or greater strength. Sometimes you can speak into someone's life, I guess, for a period or for an instance, but to consistently speak into someone's life who's of a greater strength than you is not going to happen, because there's something in them that they sense that. And like the example you just gave is an excellent example of why people should really take their time when they select a person to work with them and to inspire them. I don't want to just say coach. I want to say inspire, urge, push, pull, whatever it needs to be.
Because it takes all of that.
It takes all of that. It takes all of that because you're giving birth. You know, and it's painful, it's uncomfortable, it's scary, but it's necessary.
And it's worth it.
And then once that baby's born, you be ooh, goo, 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 gaga. You know, you forget the pain because the baby's here now.
Right.
But it takes a strong midwife, a spiritual midwife, to cause that birth to happen. You know, and so we were talking about that right before the show, and I was telling her, I said, Tracey, you got that gangster going. She does, and I admire that. And so I would advise people who are listening that if you find that you are in need of someone to inspire you, to give you that spark, look for someone that's stronger than you are.
Right. And be humble enough to receive that.
And be ready to receive what comes with that.
Exactly. So Tracey, we usually do this at the end of the show, but since you mentioned it, how does someone get in touch with you if they're inspired or they hear something that you said and they want to reach out to you?
Simply social media is the easiest way to reach me. My website is inspiring you to, like the band, to grow.com, or simply at Tracey Inspires on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah, you do a lot on social media.
I try. You know, I have coaches behind me that are going, you're not doing enough. So as much as I push and stretch my clients, I'm being pushed and stretched myself. That's where you stay in the work. Which makes you a better
person for who you work with.
You have to stay in the work. Yeah.
So what else do you have going on? We have this amazing business, which I'm excited to be a part of.
Yeah,
but you have so many other things on the horizon.
I do. I am currently studying with a shaman. I love vibrational sound healing. So music, you know, most people are all touched by music, right? Well, music is vibration, and everything in our bodies are vibration and music. So I'm going to be working with someone who can teach me how to play different instruments to affect the body and to move energy. Because as they say, our issues are in our tissues. Wow. And God gave me the ability.
That was a light bulb moment.
To work with people. And like I said, like when we go in and look at those hurts and those situations and circumstances that people are, you know, come into this world with or get attached to us in this world, you know, grief. You know, that grief is a whole nother level. Grief will wait for
huge.
You.
Grief
you know, and no one ever teaches
away.
us how to grieve,
right?
How to move past it, how to effectively integrate it. You know, so all of that kind of stuff is why I stay in the work. So,
and that's huge for me because I know, having lost a daughter or saying goodbye to a daughter, the more I talk about that experience, the more that usually women, I've had a couple men come to me and said that they've, you know, said goodbye to a child too soon. And I see that pain is still right there at the surface. Right. And I'm just blessed to have a tremendous faith in God and to find the peace and the happiness that she brought while she was here. And I just use that to push me forward instead of mourning all the time and having it hold me in place where society wouldn't blame me. So the fact that you said that about grief is huge.
Yeah, and we've had a few discussions, you and I, about this, and I would just share with other people too. You know, I lost my best friend at 20 years old, and at 20 I carried her casket, but no one turned around to us group of girls and said, you know, it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to be sad.
People don't want to talk about that.
It was push on and move
That's
forward.
something we're just
But that's what we do as a society.
Exactly.
If we look at what's going on in the world today, and it doesn't have to be cultural, and it doesn't have to be guns, and it doesn't have to be politics. People are in pain.
Yes, very much so.
People are in pain.
Very much so.
And
But
your
people-
faith in God is so strong, and your angel Paige was a vehicle for that strength in God.
Exactly.
But most people don't look at it that way. You
I
know,
don't
their
want her legacy to
perception.
be sadness. Whenever someone sees me or hears me
Right,
talking,
but the
they get
grief
sad.
sometimes overpowers the faith, and
It
that
does.
turns to anger
It does.
and bitterness.
Or you start hurting yourself.
Right, and we've even discussed the community of getting together to acknowledge and support our pain instead of our growth and our celebration. We don't celebrate one another. We don't celebrate our accomplishments. We don't celebrate getting through the day-to-day stuff in life.
That's true.
And that's where I feel I'm full circle, because I can't coach without all of those entities being in place.
Man.
Wow, that's powerful.
But wait, she still got some more stuff that she's doing. Okay, so that's there. And then you were...
So that's that. I am starting a networking group for people who work in the healing industry. And I mean holistic healers, acupuncturists, chiropractors, yoga studios. Man, the yoga studios are full these days. There's a lot of middle-aged women looking for something.
Yoga
and they're
is
looking for self.
powerful.
They're looking
People
for
don't
self.
understand the power of yoga.
Yeah.
I've been
And
a
that's
lifelong yoga
Right,
practicer,
right. But they're
practitioner.
coming for a practice that they think is a workout.
It's about
not.
stretching. No, it's not.
And it's a search for self.
Yeah.
And so that just tells me, as a community, we're not as connected as we need to be to our mind and body. We're
Because
not
that's
as
what yoga
grounded.
is, mind, body,
that is
soul
what
connection.
It is. That is what it is.
And in yoga, you can't go in like at, the aerobics class and try and mimic someone around you, because your body is telling you, even from day to day, from class to class is different. You may be like rocking it out in your head one yoga session, and the next one your body's like, not today. And you have to learn to honor that.
Yeah.
You can't look at flexible Felix next to you and try and imitate
Right.
that, because you're only
Right.
going to bring pain to yourself.
And that's the beauty that I find in yoga, is that it's not about anybody else in the room.
It's about
So
you.
It's about your breath
That's
and
true.
connecting to your body, which we
Yes.
just don't do. So that's my that's my passion. That's what keeps me grounded and in the space to serve others. And as my mentor says, you can't fill other people with an empty cup. I have to fill from my
and people
overflow.
don't get that.
No, they don't.
They tell you
don't
that
get
when you go to fly, if something happens, you put your mask on first.
Right.
Then you can be available to help others.
Right. 'Cause
And
if you
people just
passed
don't
out,
seem to
you
get
can't-
that.
No,
Right.
it's real clear, really.
It makes
It makes
common
sense.
sense.
If you
It
can't
makes a lot of
breathe, you
sense.
can't help anybody else breathe.
Well, if she
It makes all
died
the
saving
sense.
somebody else with it. No.
Yeah, she was a saint.
Right. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But she did.
Yeah. She gone, y'all. She gone.
She gone. She
So
forgot
Tracey,
to-
with all of these
Yeah.
projects that you have going on, how do you manage to give the time needed for each piece without neglecting a piece, without neglecting who you are as Tracey?
I'm grateful for my coaches that keep me accountable and keep me in line. And it really does come down to scheduling. My research and development is scheduled. Everything that I do is on a schedule. And I am probably I would have to, raise both hands and stand up that I fought it. But the only way that I can be successful in all areas are to have everything scheduled in that way. So I don't work
Not
on
just
everything
schedule it,
every
but
day.
be true to that schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You have to be obedient to it.
Right.
Once you said
Ooh,
it,
I hate that word, but okay.
you do.
I know. But I mean, that's what you have to
It
do.
is true. It is true. In order to get where you want to be, you have to sacrifice somewhere, and you have to have the commitment.
Yeah, yeah.
It is.
A lot of
it's the
people are like, I
commitment.
don't like to be constrained by time and
Right.
Well, okay, so you're probably going to stay right where you are, and if you're fine with that, that's fine.
Because you know what?
Right.
If you don't respect time, you're going to run out of it. Because we don't get any more. We got 24 hours in a day, and that's it. And it starts over again. So
And it doesn't. That's what I love about time. It doesn't matter how rich you are. It doesn't matter how cute, thin, whatever, talented, creative you are. We all have the same amount of
24
time.
hours. 24 hours, that's it.
And that's huge.
And like you're saying, if you have a schedule, and I need to do this for myself and stick to it, because since we've been doing the radio program, and we've been doing video to promote the Wendy life as well. I haven't been writing to finish this book that I've pretty much finished it. I have an editor waiting on it who emails me every so often, "Hey, James, where's the manuscript?"
And the wife who reminds him to keep.
And my wife who reminds me. So what I need to do is literally put it in writing, because what I don't want to happen, I'm going to discipline myself so Tracey doesn't have to.
Because she will.
Because I'm ready. I'm ready to jump in
I
right now. I see my
her.
chair moving. I'm ready to
look at her to know. She's like, I can help you with
She's over there wiggling in the chair. Oh, really?
But that's good that you mentioned that, because as your makeup is that you're very laser beam focused on whatever project is in front of you, which could allow you to pull away from other projects that are needed.
Yes.
And while that is a extremely desirable, that's what I have to work on. It's taking you away. So that scheduling piece is huge.
There's a part of me that I need to reinvent, because when I was writing Between the Ticks of the Clock, I was focused.
You were laser beam focused.
When I was writing Shattered Ceilings, I was focused. And then when the radio thing came about, there was so much, we had to do so many pieces that had to line up, and then I would get ideas. I got the idea for taking the radio show to television, and having it, on over the air. And so that took some other changes. And so I'm at the point now where we have things in place. They're pretty much, we have a system for our broadcast, for the telecast and everything. And
that's another important piece. You have to have the right systems in place.
Yes.
For your projects.
Yes.
You make me so proud.
Oh, I'm learning. Shoot, my strategist is Tracey.
Yes.
And then another thing that I learned through my own entrepreneurial journey is that having that schedule doesn't mean that you are necessarily sacrificing or neglecting something else.
Exactly.
If you give 2 hours to that writing and you're laser focused for that 2 hours, then you have to know to break and go to that next thing, and you get more accomplished.
You do. You really do.
Because a lot of people say, well, I'm too busy to do this.
Can I give out a tip for scheduling?
Yes.
So I use my Google Calendar, and again, this isn't my content. I'm just sharing what I've been taught. Like 8 a.m., doesn't it sound exciting, or 6 a.m. to work out? No, it doesn't. You rename what you put in your schedule so that when it beeps off at you, it reminds you. For mine, it goes off at 8 o'clock and it says leave it on the mat. That is my meditation and my yoga time. It's non-negotiable.
So you start your day working on you, is that correct?
7 a.m. it says fuel your cells. Nice. So I don't need to eat, I need to fuel my body.
Nice.
Yeah, and then my research and
it's
development,
just little tricks,
snatching my sexy back, whatever you want to call it. James, if you're scheduling time to write your book, what's the end result of that book? You're inspiring the shift of minds, right?
Yes.
Let's name that something that
I guarantee you that would work for him.
Yeah, like let's make that something that shows you your end result and why you're going to keep going to make that.
I'm going to put
That's
that
awesome.
in today, where I'm going to get back to that, because that was a time when it was ironclad, 6 to 9:30 or 10 every night. I think Sundays I didn't write. But Saturdays I would write earlier. But I get that 3 or 4 hours in. My target was about 2,000 words a day, and because my book wound up being 300 and something pages. So with the rewrites, I needed to be focused for that time frame. So I'm going to, because as soon as you said that, my mind went to butt in the chair, fill the page.
Oh, fill the page. That's good.
Yeah, fill the page.
Okay.
And put that on the calendar for that time frame. Don't edit any videos. Don't edit any audio. Don't create. Don't do anything. Fill the page, and that will be. Wow, Tracey, you're so good at this.
And the truth of the matter is in your subconscious, you're beating yourself up because you're not writing.
Right.
Right. And so that means we're carrying that energy of disappointment in ourselves because we're not doing it. It's a form of self-sabotage.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's also, our minds are good. We're like sneaky snake good, as I've been told. We're really good at making ourselves real good at sabotage.
Condemning ourselves.
And lifting ourselves up.
Our excuses are sexy. I think I've heard that a few times. We're so good. Our excuses are sexy.
It's sad. So we need to flip that.
Well, I'm going to do that. I assure you. Write that down for me, baby. Fill the page.
Tracy locked it in her brain. But I'm going to write it.
Put it on our.
And if it's not on the schedule, it's not going to happen.
Put it on our cheat sheet. I'm going to put it. As soon as we get off the air, I'm going to put that in my calendar.
And then share that with whoever is around you, your family, your friends, your spouse. Let them know what it is. You always in the office. We don't get to spend it. Okay, but if you explain to whoever matters.
Creating my future.
I'm our future.
Yeah.
Then it's more understandable. It's more palatable for that person to be like, okay, yeah, he's in the office writing.
Right. And equally it has to be, your time with family too. Because so many people, like there is no such thing as a work-life balance. There's still 24 hours in a day.
Right.
Somebody's getting shorted somewhere every day.
Yeah.
But when you're spending quality time with your family, then put your phone down, put your computer down, and literally brain dump it out so that you're not sitting there going, I don't really want to be playing this game because I need to write 1,000 words. Be present in the moment.
Yes.
And that could be your reward even, right?
It is, because it gives you a break.
So now I can go and take my mind away, but be with the people that I love.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is when we're doing various projects or initiatives, we have a vision to accomplish a task or to build a business or whatever. If your motive is to enhance your family life, the quality of life for yourself and your family, there are rewards that come from that you don't even see right away. They're not immediate and obvious. I never would have thought me writing a book would have resulted in Wendy getting a television show, but it did. I never would have thought that writing a book would have resulted in us having a radio program and some of the awesome people we've met and had on the program.
Right.
And the relationships we've forged. If I hadn't written that book and taken the time, and I appreciate you for understanding and pushing me to get back to it like you're doing now. And because we were both rewarded for that, and that's something. When you had a previous experience with a good outcome, it's easier to bite that bullet again.
Yeah, it is.
It's easier. But the first time around is kind of tough because you haven't seen anything yet. But we've seen the results. So I'm without excuse.
No more excuses.
And I also know that this book that you're working on is huge and is going to change lives. This is a movement that you're creating. And you know that.
Yes, I do.
And that sometimes helps us sabotage it because it gets a
we can
little
write
bit
on this
bigger
paper,
than we
create
think.
The movement, huh?
Yeah, create the movement.
Just pull that out of the air.
because we've had the conversations of the people we want to touch with this in this process.
Yes.
And that's where that fear creeps in subconsciously too.
Yes.
Like it's big. It's a bigger calling. It's a bigger calling. What you've done, you two, is big, and it's getting bigger.
It is.
Yes, it is.
We pray more often now.
That's all good.
But Tracey, real quick, I know you said you were starting your own networking group.
Yeah.
Now, we've talked about our issues with networking groups and going to networking events.
Yes, Wendy.
Tell me, what are your thoughts as to how networking in your mind should really go? I have my opinion. I think we kind of agree. Because you get all these cards, and then
that's not what I'm doing. Mine is going to be a networking mastermind, and I'm going to keep it a very small group of people. And it's going to be brain dumps. It's going to be brain dumps and sitting at a table together, literally hashing out action steps.
And holding each other accountable.
Yeah, it's accountability. It's an actual business mastermind. The network aspect of it for me is because of the group I'm bringing together is a specific group. Like you said, we go to a normal networking group, and it's just everybody's trying to sell everybody. Here's my card. I don't want.
And if I don't need what you have,
right? I have hired people to put all these blank cards into a database. It's like that's time and energy wasting.
And a lot of times they don't even want to hear from you.
No, they don't.
Because for me, I think when you go network, if you really ask for someone's information, you should follow through.
Yeah.
And the years I've been doing it, that happens a handful of times.
Right.
Where there's a real connection. Even if I don't need a health and wellness, but I think you're a great person, but maybe I can refer someone to you. It doesn't have to be about you using my services.
Right.
It's just about what we can do to help each other. And that's a question that I've just started asking people when we do meet after networking is what can I do for you? Like I know a psychologist, she's a psychologist. And I said, I've had my work. I've had a whole lot of work. But what can I do, if anything, to help your business? And she told me, I was like, okay, I'll keep that in my head as I'm networking with other people.
Wow, that's powerful.
And now
people don't do that, though.
No, they don't. They don't.
That's very selfless. It's very giving.
You have to be, because if you want someone to pour into you, you have to pour into someone else.
But that's very. I don't think people think that way.
They don't, which
They
is
don't.
frustrating
That's,
about networking.
That's what's frustrating, and that is it in a nutshell. That's the frustrating thing about networking. As women, we want to come together and build a tribe, and we get really disappointed in that there aren't that many people who really think, how can I support you, is a very simple question. Most women are not willing to support you, and I can't say most, because we found each other years ago.
Didn't know each other.
Right? And it wasn't about business. Right.
We just connected.
Right. And that's what everything networking should be about, is the relationship. But when the energy is bad and you know that certain people are coming in to serve themselves, it gets icky and sticky.
It does.
So I'm just gonna
I knew
go
we
in my
agreed
corner.
on that one.
Right, no, I'm gonna go in my corner and I'm gonna create a community that actually understands what giving to one another and the brain power of all the minds in the room.
And praying that just kind of branches out
And
from
it
there
will.
to other aspects of their lives.
It will. You know, what you focus on, you find. And I just stopped finding those
I'm sorry.
groups.
I'm sorry. I don't think that heard what she said. Can you say that
What
again?
you focus on, you find.
Wow.
So, you know.
And that can be good or bad.
Good and bad, right? Because we've sat through a lot of those meetings going, I just don't belong here. Then get your butt up and leave.
Then leave. Don't come back.
Don't.
Yeah.
It's a toleration that
You
we
don't
put
have
up
to
with.
explain it to
Right.
anyone.
Right.
Why aren't you coming? I just,
Nah,
I'm
it's
going in a
okay.
different direction.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right.
That's
Wow,
another thing
that's-
women do. We apologize and we
No,
explain
I
to
don't
death
apologize.
everything.
I'm just-
But
I
as
don't
a
have
group,
time for
because I
that.
stopped. Wendy, can you come? I can't. Oh my gosh, it's going to be this. Okay, well, I hope it's a success for you.
You know, I
won't
think
be able
that's
to
a,
make
I
it.
think that's a principle you should take a moment to share about, because you've shared that with me, how ladies often feel pressure to make excuses
To
for
explain
why
it.
they're not participating in something because they've made a decision. Sometimes people want to make you feel guilty.
But you're giving them that permission to feel guilty,
that's
because if you
exactly
say, I can't
right.
come to the party because, oh my gosh, my son has this and then my husband has this. Now that person feels empowered to be like, well, I mean, just come back for about a few minutes because you said you have this at 1, but your husband isn't needing you until about 3. So you come about, for a half hour. So now you've given them that permission.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just say, I'm not going to be able to make it, oh my God, why not? I just a lot going on. I'm not going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
No is a complete sentence.
It's a complete, exactly. But
It
we
is.
keep trying to explain,
We
which
feel-
makes us feel guilty because we've invited that in.
We, by nature, people try not to, most people try not to offend other people. But in the process of trying to avoid being offensive, you're offending yourself.
You're offending yourself.
Yeah, I don't need to explain to you
yeah.
that
No.
I need to get upstairs and see my Christian, and I don't need to. I'm just simply not available. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to.
But you're right. We're raised with a certain, politeness, and in that thing where we're trying to support our sisters, right?
Right.
And then it's like, but all they do is take, and you just
So you stop
at some
going.
point you learn the word no, and it is complete.
and
it feels
and wait a minute.
good.
It's powerful.
It's
And
a
they will
powerful
lay
no.
that. They will lay that thing on you. See, that's why women can't get together and do anything.
Absolutely.
because we don't
But
support
that's
each
you,
other.
them.
you
That
find
ain't-
what
See,
you
now-
focus
now
on.
see,
Exactly what
see,
you
there
focus
you
So
go.
if that's how you feel, that's what you're
I
always
can
gonna
tell you
invite
that my
them in.
community is not the same community that it was 2 years ago, let alone 6 years ago. Those people aren't around me anymore.
That's
And
good.
that's good. You weed those
When you
people
grow,
out.
right? It's not a matter of weeding. You love people where they are, but I think as entrepreneurs, that's a big deal too. Is realizing that people aren't going to stay comfortable with your change, and
Wow.
you have to trust in yourself enough.
Yes.
You know, and that gets a little shaky sometimes. I even for me, it was a very difficult time to go to that next level and realize I was alone in it.
Right.
I was
You gotta
alone
get
in
a
it.
whole new group of people.
Exactly.
This was,
Well-
wow, we're running out of time.
Oh, we are out of time.
Thank you so much, Tracey.
Tracey, thank you
being
so
here.
much for being a part of our broadcast. And we're going to have you back, of course, because you're family. And we
Sister.
appreciate you. We admire you. Listen, you guys, we're on every Thursday now, 6 o'clock p.m. on the Artist First Radio Network. Tune in every single Thursday. Until then, let God's grace flow in your life as a mighty river.
Be blessed, everyone.
Bless.
Thanks for listening to JW Fusion with your hosts, James and Wendy B.